everyone. Big Byron here,
And I'm Brandon.
and welcome to Real Logic. The topic for today is a topic that I chose. It's going to be about credit cards. It looks like a seven
It does.
credit cards. So basically, it's just kind of our thoughts and ideas of credit cards, our opinions on it. This is by no means a professional help or professional advice on about acquiring or getting credit cards. It's just again our personal opinion about it. And
Which
since
means you
this
should probably do your own research.
absolutely anything that you hear from us, always do your research. Anything that you hear from anyone, do your own research. But since this is my topic that I chose, I'll be going first. I'm going to talk about my personal experience about credit cards, pros and cons from what I've experienced, and I guess I'll go ahead and start. So I've had a credit card for quite a long time, actually. I can't quite remember when, but ever since I guess I turned roughly 18, I think I've had one, maybe even younger than that. I don't remember. And the one benefit that I really like about credit cards was the rewards. I love the rewards.
Were they
More
chocolate sundaes? I'm just
I
playing.
sometimes, yeah, actually, yes, it can be. But for the most part, it's the cashback. And the what's it? The one that I had. My very first credit card was a Mastercard from eBay, and I had a 1% cashback. It's not very much, but for every dollar I spend, I get a penny back. But what I'd always do is I'd always use a credit card wherever accepted. I would not use cash unless I absolutely have to. Just because that 1% cash back, even though it's just a penny, it adds up over time. And since I had a credit card for a long time, um, was it I had it for I don't know how many years now, quite some time anyway. I've accumulated about this amount of rewards, 3,000 plus in rewards money. No joke. I've had a credit card for a long time, and I use it for everything. Now, actually, I ended up getting a new credit card, and I get 1.5%. Just half a penny more.
Just moving up a little bit.
Yeah,
Just
move it up a little bit.
from 1% to 1.5.
Not quite the east side, but somewhere along there. Move it up, yeah. But yeah, it's just the fact that everything that you buy, on sale or not, you get 1.5% cash back. That's great. Imagine if I had that right, if I had that since the very beginning, how much would I get? I get 40. That's how much 1% would get you. $1,500 more. That's a lot for a half percent.
Yeah.
But but this was when rewards were still kind of new at the time. The next kind of benefit that I really like. I mean, it's not really. I don't know. It's not really how I see it as a benefit, but it's your credit score. So when you're using your credit card, you're building up debt, and so long as you're paying it back, you'll get a good credit score. And the big benefit for having good credit score is easier. Man, that is some ugly
What is that?
easier to get get a loan for anything, car, house. Whenever nowadays in this world, um, a lot of things are being done through credit checks and stuff. So if you don't have credit, people are going to be a little bit more worried about lending money to you. So when you start building your credit and the higher your credit is, people tend to be more trustworthy in lending you money. On top of lending you money, you can get lower fees as well because you have a good credit score. It's like, hey, you're trustworthy. Sure, I can lend you the money for a small nominal fee, or
Yeah.
none.
So basically, you're showing that you don't need it, and they're more likely to give it to you.
Well, that's what
Kind
that's the thing that I saw kind of weird. It's like you don't have any money. I will lend you money with really high credit, sorry, really high interest rates. Like, dude, I don't have any money. Why are you going to increase the fee for it? It's like you should charging people with good credit with that
of.
because they have money. But yeah, it's just the fact. I guess the increased fee is just because they don't trust you. You know, they are in fact lending their money to you in hopes that you'll pay them back. So, but yeah, getting a credit score like whenever I went shopping for a car, man, and they ran my credit, and it's like they came back, it's like, man, yeah, you can buy anything you want from this lot. It's like, yeah, no, that's not the point. I want this car at the low payment. So yeah, I mean, and then I noticed also for some odd reason, whenever I was going to my bank, apparently for my bank, I loaned most of my money from my bank. I bought a bike off of that and a car off of that. As a matter of fact, two bikes, no, one bike and one car, and I paid it back within a really, really quick time. And apparently, my credit score for apparently there's a credit score for your house when you're trying to get a house, you have a credit
Yep.
score, and when you're trying to get something else, it's a different credit score. I didn't realize that, and my credit score for getting a house, I think, is a lot higher. I don't know why, but that's the
Well,
thing.
because you're responsible.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It shows you responsibility. So, and the next thing, it's in a sense safer. Man, I can't write today. Safer. And how is it safer? Well, when you're is that two G's mugged. If you ever
Oh
get
my God.
mugged, huh?
Your handwriting skills have been mugged.
Well, if that dude didn't steal anything because I didn't have any. Anyway, but yeah, if you've been mugged, you know, if they take your credit card, whatever. Most credit cards nowadays will have zero liability, meaning that if someone were to make an unofficial charge, or someone that doesn't isn't you makes a charge on a credit card, you're not liable for it. So that's a great thing. If you were to carry cash with you, you know, if you get mugged, well, it's kind of if they spend that money, you kind of lost it. Whereas most credit cards nowadays, if someone charges a charge on your credit card, you know, more than likely you can call up your credit company before even before they charge your credit card. You can have calling the credit card company saying, "Hey, my card's been stolen," and you can freeze it. That way, no charges has been done. Or even if they made a charge, you can tell them, "Hey, you know, that's not me that's using it. Freeze the account. You could be not liable for that." As a
Well,
matter of
yeah,
fact,
and just to piggyback on that, like another reason why it's safer is, because of, outside of federal law and whatnot, is the fact that it's actually the bank's money that was stolen, not your money. So they're going to work a little harder to get their money back, as opposed to where your actual money. So that's why it's a little safer. And then, of course, you have no liability.
mhm. And like one of my friends actually, he had a card. I don't know whether it was a credit card or his bank card, but and somehow it ended up getting stolen. And um, I remember I was there whenever he found out about it, and apparently this guy called him, the store owner or whoever purchased this. Is a guitar that was purchased on his account on his whatever card he was using. The store owner found it very suspicious that the mailing address and the credit card address are different, and it was shipped overnight. It was paid for overnight shipping. So instead, the guy that immediately called the original person who owns the credit card first before shipping out the guitar over to the shipping address. Called my friend up and told him about it. And my friend said, "No, I didn't make any purchase like that." It's like, "Oh, well, looks like someone stole your credit card." It's like, "Oh, okay." So he
Uh,
told me about that, and apparently the person lives like just a few blocks away from him. I was like, "Dude, you're gonna sue the
oh,
person or something like?"
wow.
Yeah, it was really crazy. Luckily enough, though, for him, that the guy, the whoever called him, was smart enough to say it looked saw that was very suspicious and not charged for the thing yet. And luckily enough, he didn't have to, have that significant loss because I'm sure it was a very expensive guitar. I think it's like $4,000, and then to
Ooh,
overnight ship that thing was like $500.
that's insane.
Yeah, yeah, it was a very fancy. I don't know if that's a fancy guitar, but $4,000 is a lot of money. So I
Fancy
assume it's
enough,
fancy.
man.
Yeah, and then
1,000?
a 4,000 something like that, because it was a really good brand guitar. Don't know anything about brandings of guitars.
Neither do I.
But yeah, and I'm glad for him. And luckily enough, I mean, this was still when credit cards were still relatively new, where you were still liable, I think, for majority of the cards, not all of them. I think this must have been his banking card. I'm not sure. Then the next kind of benefit, it's not. It doesn't seem like it's a benefit, but man, the eyes are not clicking right.
Dude, is that an O or an E?
Yeah, that's an
Responsibility.
responsibility. Now, the reason why this will teach you responsibility, because you have, in a sense, how do I say this? Like when you're using a credit card, man, you don't see you don't you don't see your spending limit. Yeah, dog, the eyes are not there. Because usually when you carry around cash, and as you're spending your cash, you're seeing it dwindle in your wallet. So you end up like, oh, I want to buy that. You look at your wallet. Oh, I have $5. Never mind. Whereas a credit card, sometimes you have 500, 1,000, $4,000 is your limit, and as you're spending it, you don't. When you pull out the credit card, you don't see a number getting littler. No, you just see the same numbers on that credit card, which is your credit card number and expiration date. That's it. And then maybe when you hit your limit, you get a text message or a call from your credit card company saying, "Hey, guess what? You've maxed it out." Or actually, you'll say, "Oh no, it's declined." I was like, "Why? It's maxed." Oh shit. And so responsibilities goes both pros and cons. If you know how to use your credit card wisely, it will teach you to be a little bit more responsible with money handling, basically. So
Right.
because it's something that you don't see changing as you use it. If you understand that every time you make a charge to it, you say, okay, I am spending this amount, this amount, this amount, you're being more aware of something that you're not aware of, visibly aware of in front of you. Whereas cash, you're always visibly aware of how much cash you have on hand. All right. And well, along with the positives of credit cards, there is also negatives to it. And the one
Right.
negative, huh?
Yeah, I was gonna say, but to tack onto your responsibility as being a negative, right? Sometimes, life just happens and people lose their jobs or, emergencies come up and you just can't, make those payments. And if you can't make those payments, then you get hit with the fees, your debt increases, and score just drops. And so things just become a little rougher for you.
Yeah, you kind of touched up on a lot of the points I was going to say. Like, your debt could increase, could get overwhelming if you are not responsible enough of keeping track of how much you're spending, what you're buying, and the fees and all that. The fees can accumulate on your debt because there's usually the fees for credit cards. It fluctuates from what I understand. It's like about 11% to like 25%, which is pretty high. The next negative is, well, along with the credit score, it could hurt it because if you don't pay the minimum amount, if you don't pay the minimum amount, your credit score could take a hit, especially if you don't pay it off in a longer period of time, because there is um, a little bit of forgiveness in terms of paying off a little bit late. But if you continually do it, it will hurt your credit score, and then in the long run, that could hurt you from getting loans easier. It's like, hey, we see that you have debt, you haven't been paying it on time, you're not trustworthy enough for us to loan you the money. And the last thing, as you've noted, is fees. Fees can be quite quite large. Again, like 25% if the market is bad. Apparently, it fluctuates. For one month it could be 11% fees and 12%, and then all of a sudden it jump up to 25% whenever you have a high credit. And then there are also some credit cards that actually has an APR, or sorry, a annual fee, which I don't typically get those credit cards just because it's not worth paying to use a credit card if I have to
Those
pay
aren't
the
really
credit.
common, are they?
Mm, they're out there. I don't know how common they are. I haven't really searched around for them, but I know there are some credit card with fees. I think those mostly apply to people who may have like low credit score, maybe, or certain credit cards with like really good benefits that you have to pay annual fees to. So I'm assuming the at least the annual fees are people who may it applies to people with low credit score or people who wants like really good benefits. Like I know there are some credit cards where you can get like first class whatever for flight just for buying tickets with their credit card. You get automatic upgrades because of the benefits of that credit card, but there are annual fees to it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Then there are some credit cards where there's no annual fees. So long as you use their credit card, you get like, upgrades to a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, those are pretty much my thoughts on credit cards. What about you?
I think there's one more benefit you didn't touch on, and it's called churning, churning, and basically it's where you like
What
the
was it again?
benefit, churning, and it's like where you try to maximize your benefits.
Churning.
Yeah, so like say you can
Never
get
heard of that.
flyer miles. Yeah, it's like people rotate the cards out to get more flyer miles out of them, or like just the cash back or whatever other benefits come with it. Because I know particular companies give particular benefits.
Actually, I speaking about that, I think that's part of the rewards, as opposed to instead of just cash back, you get like freaking flyer miles and all that.
Hmm.
There
Yeah.
is this one guy I remember watching on YouTube, a guy that uh really reaped the benefits of this one credit card. He practically has unlimited flyer miles
Yep.
for only
Churning.
like what three spending $3,000. He's got like nearly $500,000 worth of flyer miles for 3,000 bucks. 500,000.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's worked the system, man.
Yeah, yeah, and I was looking, I was like, "Oh my god!" And I saw this one guy with 7 credit. Oh, sorry, we'll discuss that later on. But
Yeah.
yeah,
But there are advice boards on that. But yeah, so of course, with the positive, there are negatives, and as I've mentioned, it's easy to go into debt, and just hurt yourself further due to unforeseen incidents. And I think another negative is that some people just aren't financially literate, and if you don't have that literacy, then it's like you don't know what's going on, and everything goes south really quick.
so basically, responsibility, right?
Basically, yeah, I would. Well, some people just don't have the literacy; they just don't know. They just don't know.
They just don't know. So, so if that's what's your experience with credit cards so far?
No, I've not had anything bad with them
Well,
at all. Never have.
no, I mean as
I don't.
in your knowledge of it so far and all that.
I mean, like I've got knowledge on them. I just don't use them.
So speaking about what you were saying a little bit earlier about the churning, which that's an interesting term. Yeah, I remember watching again that same with that same video. I watched a related video where this one guy has like 8 or 14 credit cards.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and I'm like, what? And apparently, the way he does it, the benefits for each credit card is different, of course, you know. So, um, so basically, whenever he sees like a really good promotion for a credit card, and he wants it, he's going to use that credit card for that month. And I remember, like for me, I have 2 credit cards. I actually have a lot more than that. I have 4 or 5, somewhere around there. Even though I only use one particularly.
Hmm.
Like the 2 that I have, this is from the same company. One of them used to have 5% cash back on your top 3 categories, but they ended up switching it to 5% cash back on the top 3 categories of the month. It's something that they select. So ever since I watched the video, I'm wondering if I should start going to that, where if I'm getting 5% cash back on another credit card, should I use that credit card um, for that month? Like, so for example, shopping on Amazon, should I use my other credit card and get 5% cash back, or should I continue to use this one credit card? I get a 1.5% cash back, even though I don't want to use 2 credit cards. It got me thinking about that now.
Yeah. I mean, but you have to be careful with it because it's kind of easy to get caught up, and if you aren't careful of what you're doing.
Well, I've been using credit cards for a long time. I understand all that. But yeah, this being a new thing, I definitely don't want to get caught up in it because I really just want to I want to simplify, just use one credit card. But then again, with the other credit card having the 5% on particular categories every month, if I just so happen to buy something in that category, why do I not use that other credit card instead? Why don't I? And just accumulate, because I think you can accumulate a lot of these cash backs and have no expiration. I need to look at the fine print again. I believe no expiration, so I could just end up accumulating 5% cash back on this one credit card for whenever I happen to buy something in that category for that month, instead of just completely doing away with it and use my 1.5% cash back on everything else. It's weird. Now, ever since that one video, it kind of like, should I? I start
Should
questioning,
I?
should I use that credit card for that now? Instead of simplifying and putting everything on one, unless I have to use my Master or Visa card. But yeah, it's pretty fascinating what a lot of people do with credit cards. I honestly I thought your credit score would get hurt pretty bad for starting up credit cards. Um, But this guy apparently has he has 820 credit score and he has like 14 credit cards. So I was like,
God.
wow, yeah, he has near perfect credit score.
Maybe he's smart about it,
He is,
like
he is. He
because
does
he
this.
takes a small hit, then he like builds it up quickly, and then
Yeah,
just does it over.
that's what I do too. I play it kind of smart too. I start up credit cards just to get the promotional stuff because again, I have last year, a year before that, I got me a Discover card from Amazon. It came with $70 off of something. I got the credit card. I bought something from Amazon and I got the $7 off. Then I stopped using the credit card. Kinda. I like, yeah. Actually, I haven't used it in like 2 years, or maybe longer than that. I don't know. But I just signed up for that credit card. Maybe took a hit on my credit score. I don't know. Don't care because I'm building it back up anyway. I got the 70% $70 off, and that was great. I started up this other credit card. As a matter of fact, this year for Black Friday, I get 200 no $150 back for spending $500 within the first 3 months. Hit that limit, no problem.
Wow.
Yeah, hit that the first purchase. Well, not really the first purchase, but like the third or fourth purchase. Bought me the Note 7, 700 some odd dollars. Got me $150 off of that, and then had to return back to Note 7. So it was all good. But yeah, I mean, if I know I can hit the requirements for that, and I know for a fact that I can pay it off, I'm gonna do it. Reap the benefits.
Of
Plus,
course, why not?
yeah, and plus the credit card. Another benefit to this credit card for being signing up for it is that you have no interest for 15 months, I believe. Yeah, 15 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I have I charged quite a lot to it. I'm paying it off slowly, getting no interest on it, and that's a real. I mean, in that way, I can max out my not max out my credit card. I can hit that $500 limit, no problem, because Black Friday's coming up. You're spending some money anyway. Might as well get $150 off on top of whatever I'm buying. And plus, actually, I put someone else on my card, and for the first purchase of that someone else buying on my card, will give me $25 off as well. So I I used that other card to buy something with, and I got $25 off on top of the 150. So yeah, it's great when you can know how to work the system legitimately, of course.
Legitimately.
Yeah, but yeah, that's so far has been my experience with the credit cards. It's been wonderful. It really has. But you do have to be careful. You have to be responsible. You have to understand your limitation. You have to understand what you can and cannot spend, and don't go over that. It can be quite a life changer and a positive and negative quite quickly if you, again, responsibility being the absolute thing that you have to watch out for.
Yeah.
It, some people just, like you said, man, have no control and they spiral into that.
Yeah.
I think that's about everything I wanted to discuss about credit card. How about you?
Yeah, that's about it. Again, this is just, this is not professional advice at all. So don't take it as professional. Do your
Abs-
research.
yeah, absolutely not. But this is, in fact, our opinion, not professional advice. Well, anyways, I do have a question for everyone out there. What are your experiences with credit cards? Have you had a bad experience, good experience? Have you had kind of like I guess the not necessarily good luck, but the nice benefit of getting credit card, like the $150 for spending $500, which was something I really love. Just tell us about your experience on credit cards that you've had. Bad, good? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.
And we'll see you next time.